Hi kids, it's me, Senor Antonio, and it's time for another Lección de Arte. That's art in Spanish. Okay, arte. And all week we've been doing art of and about the country of Spain and inspired by different artists of Spain. And let's see, what did we do? We began with the flamenco fan for the traditional flamenco dance. Okay, I hope you're able to make one yourself. It's very useful for when it's hot. And then what did we do? We did a flamenco guitar, which is the traditional guitar that is strummed and plucked during the flamenco dance. Very, very rhythmic kind of guitar. I should have put that on today, but I forgot. Okay, but you can look that up yourself. It's good music, good Spanish music, flamenco guitar music. Okay, so that's the guitar, added a little color to it, and I believe the lesson was just to take a guitar. Actually, I have a sample here. Draw it out, your basic classical guitar for flamenco music, and then color it in. That was the creative part, the coloring, and make it colorful. And then last time we did this, another guitar, but it's not quite a guitar. It's a somewhat abstract guitar, a partially abstract guitar. I've taught abstract art before, and art that is completely abstract isn't a representation of anything. It's just shapes and colors and textures. Okay, this is kind of a representation. If you were to look at that without knowing anything, you might think, it looks like a guitar, but it's kind of all mixed up. It's all jumbled up. And that is a partially abstract guitar. Actually, a cubist guitar. That's a style, or cubism is a style of abstract art, kind of established by Pablo Picasso. Although there were other artists who were making cubist art as well, but I think he was the one who really started it, or really did it the best. Okay, so that was art that was inspired by Pablo Picasso. We did that last time, and then for today, if you look over here, I got some other stuff going on, and if you look at it, it's just funny, odd, squiggly shapes, almost like squiggle designs that I do with you sometimes. You know, just funny little squiggles. But if you look at them, you probably would say, yeah, I think that's a sun over there, and I think over here, what is that, a tablecloth? Well, no, think about what we're doing this week. It's a fan. Okay, it's kind of like a fan. It's kind of abstract in a way, but although it's not abstract art, okay, it's a little something different. And then here, what's this thing? It's like a pear shape. And then this is the neck, this is the body, there's the sound hole, there's the tuning pegs. It's a guitar, okay? It's a surreal guitar. And this was inspired by the Spanish artist Juan Miro, who's considered a surrealist. And what a surrealist is someone who does pictures of real things like the sun, or say a guitar and a fan, and then he'll just do them in this way that is not really realistic. It's surreal, kind of dreamlike. I think that's the best way to describe surrealism. It's like something you'd see in a dream. Although this is not necessarily anything I think I'd see in a dream. This looks more like something a kid drew. Let me show you an example of Juan Miro's art. Okay, let me get this out of the way. There it is. That is an original Juan Miro, and Juan Miro is a very famous Spanish artist. He was doing a lot of work when I was a kid around that time and before. However, I do think he's passed away. But he's somewhat recent, all right? He was painting not too long ago, and he did these kind of abstract works, but they were called surreal works. Okay, I'm not sure why, but he was called the surrealist, and there are other surrealists who actually are more realistic, but it's like something you'd see in a dream. And someday I'll show you some other famous surrealists. There's another Spanish artist whose name is Salvador Dali, or Dali. I think maybe it's pronounced Dali, not sure. Anyway, he did very, very unusual stuff. like watches that looked like watches, but it looked like they were melting. But they were much more realistic than this. And this looks kind of like a kid drawing. And if you look here, you would realize that it's kind of like a person. This is a body. These are hands, and I guess that's a head. Although it looks like a praying mantis. But that's a head, and those are eyes. And I know it's a person because the title of this is The Melancholy Singer. That means the sad singer. So I guess this fellow here is singing. Maybe this is a microphone. I don't know. These are feet. And that's one foot, I guess. And that's a leg. And I guess that's what he's wearing. Okay, and this, I don't know what this is. Could be a sun. I'm not sure. But that's the way Juan Miro made his art. And over here we have this little star thing. And that's kind of a signature of his. He's always doing that in his pictures. But that's the way... excuse me, that's the way a typical Juan Miro painting would look like. And that's what we're going to do today. A little bit of surreal art inspired by Juan Miro. Okay, all you're going to need is paper and a pencil to begin with. And if that's all you have, that's enough. But you can go a little further than that and add color with crayons. And I am also going to use a marker for my outline. But you could also use a crayon if you don't have marker for that. But I want to use marker because I'll get a nice, clean, sharp line. But first I'm going to start with the pencil. Okay, here we go. We're going to do a guitar. Okay? Kind of a guitar. Keep in mind this is like what Juan Miro did, so it's going to be pretty funny looking, pretty odd looking. Okay, the body of the guitar, I'm just going to make kind of a knob shape like that. All right, it looks like a blob, but it has a small part and then a wider part, kind of like a pear. Actually, it's like a gourd, but it's roughly, loosely the shape of a guitar. Okay, like that. And then we're going to get really surreal. We're going to put the sound hole, which would normally be here on the body, right? Over here in the center. We're going to put it on the side, like that. And then coming out of it, you're going to have, I don't know, some lines. Those could be strings, or maybe they're the sounds coming out of the sound hole there. And then the neck. Let's see, what are we going to do with the neck? We're going to just wind the neck around like that. Okay, yeah. And another line. I'm making it a little wider at the end. And then on the end, I'm going to do a rectangle, and that would be the head. It's not at all like an actual guitar head, because the guitar head would be long, and this I made skinny going the opposite direction. But I am going to put 6 tuning pegs on it, which is normal for a guitar. So I'll have 1, 2, 3, but they're all wiggling in a strange way. 1, 2, 3, like that. And then little pegs on them, so you can turn them. There you go. Okay, and then let's see, we're going to need, oh, let's do the strings on here. Let's do this. Let's put the bridge down here. And the bridge is just this rectangle thing that the strings go down to. And then at the end they're tied down with little nuts. So we're going to do the strings. We're just going to kind of draw them straight across like that. I guess that'll work. That's not what I planned, but I just came up with that, and I think it looks okay. It looks like some other kind of instrument. It looks like a harp now. A strange wobbly harp. Let's put another string. There should be 6 strings on it, but I'm just going to put 5. Okay, that looks pretty good. And then let's put some frets on the neck. And the frets are the little metal bars that go across the neck. And when you put your finger in between them, you change the sound, you change the tone or the note. Put a bunch of them going like that. Oh, that's pretty good. Okay, what else? I have a little guideline for myself there, so I could get lost in this. I'm an artist, so I always kind of look at my pictures and think about different things I could do. And you guys are just learning how to do this, so you're following me. So excuse me if I kind of get lost in my thinking sometimes. I had something planned for over here. Oh, I know what I had planned. I'm going to put a bump at the end of that, but watch what I do with it. Put a line on the bump, little circle, and then I'll put a rectangle there. And then I'll put another line and another little circle. Okay, that's supposed to be a note. It's a surreal note. I'll do the same over here. Line, little rectangle, and another little circle. And the notes can be as weird as you want them. They could be half notes, quarter notes, whole notes. I think you're learning about that with Miss Cynthia. Okay, there's another one. And I think that's pretty good. That's pretty balanced. That's kind of the whole page. Let's see, what else? Well, maybe I'll do another couple of notes. So maybe I'll turn these into notes too. Yeah, should I? Let's see, what was I thinking? Yeah, well, let's just add another note down here, floating off by itself. And that's the cross piece, and then there's the dots, one there. Maybe one up here. We get it nice and balanced. We have a bunch of notes here, one here, and then maybe one up here. Maybe let's turn this tuning knob into a note. And there you go. And then we have to add one of those Grade A Miro stars. Yeah, just one. That's good enough. Okay, so that's it for the drawing part. Now for the coloring. And I'm going to do the same thing. I did yesterday with the crayon, with the color. I'm going to stick with typical guitar colors, brown, wood colors. So over here, I'm going to begin, and I'm going to color it in, kind of lightly, but I'm not going to color in between the strings, okay? Which is not realistic, because when you look at a guitar and you look through the strings, you see the wood the same as you do anywhere on the body of the guitar. You see the wood through the strings, but I'm just going to fill in my shapes here. And different shades of brown. So I'll do light brown there, and maybe I'll do another brown here, maybe a dark brown. Yeah, and maybe I'll do the same thing I did with the neck yesterday. I'll do some dark browns. Like that. Maybe a light brown right next to it. And then maybe over here, dark brown, but in between that part of the neck and the string. And then over here, another one, another fill in between the strings, another kind of rectangle shape right there. And then maybe some brown over here. And let's see, I think I'm going to do that fade technique I showed you last time. I'm going to start out dark and then go light. Gradually. Sometimes when you get a guitar, especially electric guitars, they'll have a finish on it that's called sunburst. So the guitar will be very deep color near the edge, and then it'll get lighter in the center, and it'll have kind of a sunburst look. So this is kind of like a sunburst look, dark, and then it gets lighter. Okay, and this, I did this a little rough down here. And maybe I'll just fill some of these in. Like this. The tuning pegs, and maybe this side I'll make them light. Fill that in. That little shape right there. I'm just filling in some of the spaces. We've done that sort of thing with squiggle designs, or I think I did a zigzag design. It was one of the first YouTube lessons where I zigzagged and across the lines, and then I just filled in whatever shapes you got after after I did the zigzag. So this is kind of like a squiggle, and then it's created all these shapes in between. There's a little shape right there. Okay, that's pretty good. I don't want to keep doing it. Like I said, that might be kind of slow going. Although I did finally figure out a way to snip things out if I ever get to a really slow part, which takes me 5 or 10 minutes just to color in. Because I know sometimes I'll go quick, so I don't slow you down, and maybe that makes you think you should go quick too. But sometimes I just go quick so I can get the lesson done, so you don't have to sit and watch for too long. But you should take your time and do a nice job. That's enough for now. For the guitar, now I'm going to do some colors in the notes. And Juan Miro, I noticed after looking at a bunch of his work, often used the primary colors, red and black, or well, not black, red and blue and yellow, but actually a lot of red and blue too. A lot of red and blue, a little bit of yellow, and a lot of black. And then here and there he did secondary colors like green and purple, but it seemed to be mostly kind of red and blue, and dark reds and dark blues. So let's do some blue down here on this note. Maybe some blue up here, and some red too. You know what, let's do yellow. Let's do one that's red and yellow. That's the flag of Spain, red and yellow. So let's give it a little bit of Spanish flavor. There, red and yellow. Maybe this one, red and yellow too. I'll balance it out. I'll have red over here, and the crossbar, and then yellow notes. And I have one last note over there. I'll just make that, I'll make that black. I haven't used any black yet. Like a regular note, except for the fact that it's all squished and wiggly. Okay, and I could keep going on, but I want to do just that much so I can show you how I'm going to tighten it up with the marker. Now, as I was saying, you could use a crayon for the outline to give it more definition. It'll come out a little fuzzy if you do that, but that's okay, that's fine. It actually might look good that way. Juan Miro's lines, they're pretty clean, but if you were able to see real close, you see they're kind of fuzzy. He painted those. He probably painted it with the skinny brush, and who knows, this might be a really big painting, so those lines might be thick. Let me zoom in. Here's his signature, Miro. Okay, but he's got all these black outlines to help give it definition. And that's what I'm going to do with marker. So I just go back, find my line, and go over it. Now, the nice thing about doing a pencil line first, especially if it's light, and you go back with your marker, even if you didn't cover your pencil line, you're kind of changing it a little as you go. You then can go back with your eraser after it's done and you erase away the pencil lines. Okay, this is going to take a minute or two for me to do. If it's, oops, gotta keep the art in the frame so you can see it. It would be a real tragedy if I did the whole lesson and suddenly realized I had the picture down here and you weren't seeing it. I have to keep going back and forth looking at what I'm doing on the monitor to make sure you're seeing what I'm doing. Sometimes my hand might be covering it too. Let's see, here's the guitar body. You know, a lot of people do YouTube videos, and I think a lot of them are just homegrown, but some of them probably have, you know, a bit of what I call production involved. And that's where they set everything up just right, lighting and getting everything in position. There's a guy named Bob Ross who's a painter. Everyone, all older people know Bob Ross because he was on television for years and years. But he would do painting demonstrations, and he always had his easel set up. So you're kind of always looking over his shoulder while he was painting. I'm doing it a little differently here. I'm holding my paper here and I'm working at it from the side. So that makes things a little trickier for me. So I'm always looking at things at an angle. And I was thinking about using an easel, but then it would be way back here, and I don't think that would work too well. I got to keep it close to the iPad here. Okay, so that's it. You got the idea. I'm giving it a nice crisp outline. That gives it a nice bit of definition. Some artists do that. I actually do something like that in my own art. I use outlines, or I call them contours, of whatever it is I'm doing. A lot of times I do flowers and I'll have the edges kind of lined out. Oop, I forgot a little bump there. Well, I guess I didn't have to put one there. I had a teacher in college who said, there are no outlines in nature. If you look at a leaf, the leaf is just green, and then the edge of it is where the green ends, and the other color, say if it's a brown, I don't know, a brown stone or something. Say a green leaf is laying on a brown stone. You know, where the green ends, that's the edge of the leaf. There's no little outline. But this is art, so you can do whatever you want. And that was my thinking. I'm like, well, it's my art. If I want to put an outline on it, I'm going to put an outline on it. Cartoonists do that all the time, too. And that's kind of a quick way of getting a good definition on your art. So that's the way animators had to do it anyway, because they had to draw hundreds and hundreds of pictures, color them in, so they used outlines. And I think I got them all. Nope, one more. The bridge down here. Okay, so that's it. That's it for today's lesson and for the whole week of Art of Spain. And here we got a little bit of Juan Miro style artwork based on Juan Miro, a Spanish artist. We did a little Picasso too and some other things. And I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did anything nice, send it to me, agriffin@northwestessex.org, and I will post it on the website. It's a neat website. It's got a bunch of work on it. Sincere, if you're watching this, I don't know if you're coming to summer school. I have something of yours on there. A nice drawing you did of the school. I think, who else? Giovanni? Maybe Giovanni or... a couple other people who did school drawings. Hadassah, I don't know. I didn't have everyone up there. It takes a little bit of work to get people on there, but I've got a bunch of things you did earlier in the year. So if you've done anything in the summer school session like this, or even in the other lessons I've done on YouTube, send them along, okay? I'd love to see them, and I could post them if you're okay with me sharing them. That would be great, okay? So that's it for this week. You have a good weekend. It's only Thursday, but I hope you have a good weekend when it comes on Saturday, and I will see you next time. And next week we are going to be doing Jamaica. We're going back to the Caribbean, okay? So I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.